Hello, my name is Heather Holstein, and today I'm going to be talking about how drugs affect the brain, but more importantly, how cocaine affects the brain. I want to start off by saying that the brain is very complex. It's a major organ in the body, and it is basically everything we think and we feel, and it makes us who we are as people. So when someone takes drugs, it can interfere with the way that neurons send, receive, and process signals through neurotransmitters. And moreover, cocaine can cause the neurons to release abnormally large amounts of natural neurotransmitters. Cocaine is a strong stimulant, mostly used as a recreational drug. It is commonly snorted, inhaled as smoke, or injected into a vein. Mental effects could include loss of contact with reality, an intense feeling of happiness, and a lot of times agitation. And I just have a visual for you guys to show you what cocaine looks like. It looks like a white powder. To begin with, I want to define some terms for you guys so you aren't completely lost throughout my spiel. These terms are going to explain to you what I'm talking about when I am talking about specific neurotransmitters or certain parts of the brain that you may be unfamiliar with. So first off, neurotransmitters are a chemical substance that is released at the end of a nerve fiber by the arrival of a nerve impulse and by diffusing across the synapses or junction, which causes the transfer of the impulse to another nerve fiber, a muscle fiber, or some other structure. Secondly, synapsis is the junction between two nerve cells consisting of a minute gap across which impulses pass by diffusion of a neurotransmitter. And thirdly, dopamine is the neurotransmitter that's responsible for transmitting signals in between the nerve cells of a brain. Additionally, serotonin is an important chemical and neurotransmitter. It regulates our mood and our behaviors. And lastly, norepinephrine is the chemical that is released from neurons. It is also referred to as a stress hormone. Cocaine acts by blocking certain neurotransmitters like dopamine, norepinephrine, and serotonin. Those are the big three you should remember because that's the big three neurotransmitters that cocaine affects. Cocaine prevents these neurotransmitters from being reabsorbed by the neurons that release them and increases concentration in the synapses. The natural effect of dopamine is amplified. The group of neurons that produces much more dependency from dopamine, feelings of confidence from serotonin, and energy from the norepinephrine. So again, the group of neurons that produces much more dependency from the dopamine, feelings of confidence from serotonin, and energy from the norepinephrine. And this is experienced by people who are cocaine users. Now moving along, in chronic cocaine users, the brain becomes reliant on this drug and the pleasure it provides for them. Cocaine affects the function of neurotransmitters because it acts by intertwining with the dopamine transporter, blocking the removal of a dopamine from the synapses. The synapses then produces an amplified signal to receiving neurons. This causes the euphoria after taking the drug. So basically that means that that's what causes the high that they get. Cocaine causes nerve cells to release much larger than normal amounts of natural neurotransmitters or prevent the normal absorption of brain chemicals. So now we're going to talk about how cocaine affects certain parts of the brain, and I have a visual for you guys. And the two that are circled represent the two parts of the brain that are affected by cocaine, and these two parts are the ventral tegmental area and the nucleus accumbens of the brain. So again, cocaine affects the ventral tegmental area and the nucleus accumbens of the brain. These parts of the brain represent the reward circuit. These areas contain especially high concentrations of dopaminergic synapses, which are the targets of the drug. Cocaine can also affect the caudate nucleus, which can enable a person to bite their nails, or you'll notice them scratching themselves a lot. And regular consumption of cocaine reduces metabolic activity in several parts of the brain, which causes cognitive deficiencies. Unfortunately, drugs can very much alter behavior in people. I have 5 tips on what you should look for when it comes to drug addicts. I've looked in many books and many sites, and these 5 are very common when it comes to drug addicts. 1, they lie. 2, they manipulate. 3, they're very likely to be involved in some type of criminal activity. 4, an addict will always put the blame on you. In a situation, they will always try to turn it around on you and put the blame on you. 5, an addict can become a very abusive person, whether that is mentally or physically abusive. It can be either, or it can be both for some people. This correlates a lot with the information I've already talked about, because it is proven and shown that when someone takes drugs, their brain really does enable them to act like a completely different person. It doesn't only affect their behavior, but it also affects their appearance. And I've seen this with many people. It's a very sad case, because I was very close with a family member. We were inseparable, and she started getting into drugs, and she just was a completely different person. That wasn't the person that I knew and grew up with my whole life. So it's crazy the effect that drugs can have on the human body and the brain as well. Some interesting facts about cocaine that I found is that Scotland has the highest cocaine use of any other country in the world. 1 in 40 Scottish people use the drug. 1 in 40. Additionally, cocaine was first used in the United States in the 1880s, where it was applied as an anesthetic in eye, nose, and throat operations. This is really interesting to me because cocaine is illegal in the United States, and the fact that it was once used for medications for people in the 1880s just caught me by surprise, and I'm glad that we have better modern day medicine to help us now, because I personally wouldn't want that used on me if I was sick, because then again it's very addictive. And the overall effect of cocaine on the brain is very negative. It is a very addictive drug. Thankfully, there are many treatment facilities out there that can help users, but at the end of the day, it's their choice. I've seen so many people that just choose to go down the wrong path, and they choose the drug and the high over their family and a reality and a beautiful life, all for a drug. And they really just diminishes a person when they don't seek treatment. But like I said, it's their choice to follow through with that, though. And I just want you guys to know that, being that you're so young, you're gonna be taught lessons throughout the coming years, and there's gonna be people that are gonna offer you things, and it's very important to say no and to watch out for your surroundings, and to just be very conscious of what people try to give you or try to encourage you to do. Don't let peer pressure encourage you to do the wrong thing, because that can happen a lot in today's generation. It's very important to stay healthy and focused on the things that matter in life. And I just highly emphasize that, because you have so much potential, you have such a huge life ahead of you, and there's so much you can do, and it's just so sad when people go down the wrong path and get stuck in drug addiction. But I hope you guys found my information insightful, and I emphasize that you carry on this information as you go through life. If you have any questions, please let me know, and I hope that you learned a few things from this this speech, and I thank you guys for listening to me today. Thank you.